I like shiny things, like rings and necklaces and jewelries.
I love cryptids. Farting out AI cryptid videos all over the place, unfortunately.
How sweet.
57.
How could you?
Yeah.
Poor thing. You monster.
Huh?
It bit me.
What did you expect fairies to do?
I thought they did nice things, like granting wishes.
Huh? Shows what you know, don't it? Well, 58.
Horrible.
Huh?
Fairies are aliens. Aliens are demons. Demons are the dead spirits of things that God drowned during the Great Flood. And they're principalities. And principalities are dead things as well as fallen angels. The fallen angels probably are not dead things. But they are kicked out of heaven. So we have a lot of unclean spirits down here now and fallen angels. And they haunt the earth and they don't have material embodiment. And they see things differently than us, so we don't see them. But when the boundaries between corporeal and incorporeal are blurred, that's when people see the little people. When are the boundaries between corporeal and incorporeal blurred? I would say twilight is one of those times, dusk. Also, when we sleep, we're in the astral realm. We're preyed upon spiritual warfare when we sleep. And the stories of spiritual warfare in our sleep or in our dreams are the same as people meeting fairies and being given strange food and drinking strange drink, and missing time and being in a different reality and then waking up from that and telling the story, and it's not necessarily a good thing. If you look into the folklore of fairies, they're not these sweet little things that flutter around with butterfly wings that teenage girls are into. They're blights. Like historically, the stories of fairies and little people and elves and gnomes and household spirits, and it's not just from like British traditions and the UK, that part of the world traditions. Like all over the world, they basically have stories of what we can call fairies. Like the whole world has these stories of the little people and the fairies, and to be wary of them. And again, talking about what I'll call, and other people call it that, is marine kingdom. It's in the Bible, the dead things that come out of the sea. That's talking about stuff that he drowned during the flood. When Jesus cast the legion of demons out of the man and into the swine, and then he commands the swine to be drowned, so he's like drowning them again. You know what I mean? He's like, go ahead, go into the pigs, and then he drowns the pigs. It's like, I don't want to say that Jesus is messing with them, but it's like, yeah, we know you wicked legion of demons. Remember what I did to you? Go into the water, and he drowns the pigs, and then they have to go through that whole traumatic experience all over again because God flooded the earth. He was so I guess he was so disappointed and angry at what had been done, how what he had intended for the earth was ruined by fallen angels, and women that lusted after these fallen angels and their offspring, which is the Nephilim. And then this is how the story goes, if you don't know this before. Fallen angels came down to earth, had sex with human women. Those human women became the first witches. They were given forbidden knowledge, probably because they bugged the angels for it. And then God punished the first witches, which are the wives of the fallen angels, and turned them into sirens of the sea, and said, get away from her, like, turn their bottom half into a fish so you can't have sex with them, or turn them into a serpent. Because sirens, if you see depictions of sirens, sometimes they have like a bottom of their bodies like an octopus, like that witch in the Little Mermaid movie. What's her name? Angela? Forgive me of not knowing Disney's Little Mermaid. There's that big, dykey octopus lady. That's a siren. Like, so, and what do sirens do? They drown men by the sea. We still have, and I would call this like, not necessarily fairies, but if you look at like UK stories about water spirits it's a lot of water spirits that drown people. There's the Selkies, there's the Kelpies, I think, or something with a K. There's these stories of women that are beautiful women, but they shed like seal skins. And there are other just women, the dryads that would drown men. They look like beautiful young women, and they'd bring these men to the edge of the waters, and then get them and drown them. There's just mermaid stories. There's like even in like primitive tribes today, there are people that live by the water because they have to, because they're not Western industrialized modern civilization, so they they live close to the water, and they have their stories of they have to be careful because there's spirits there, whatever names they call them, and they try and drown people, like African tribes or whatever by water, Southeast Asian tribes or whatever, they live by water, and they warn you like no, you gotta stay away from the water now, or be careful around dark. We don't go by the water in the dark because the spirits will come out and they try and drown people, and every now and then they'll drown people, or it'll be a flare up in their tribe of like we're being attacked and in the nighttime, or when monsoons or storms come by the water, then the people are like, we gotta really be on guard now, because this is the time when people die, not because of being caught up in the storms, but because of like mermaids or sirens or whatever. But they don't call them that because that's they have different, because God divided our tongues. But it's the same unclean spirits. They're part of the marine kingdom. There's a big angle about the alien stuff and about spaceships coming out of the sea. Have you seen any stuff like this? Leviathan coming out of the ocean. All the folklores and mythology of the world have these the idea of it's not safe to go in, and again, before the world was like now we think about a lot of things in terms of science, but there's still parts of the world where they don't really think about that so much. So they still have these stories of be careful when you go into the woods, be careful when you go into the jungle, be careful when you go into places where it may be unsafe for man, not just from like the animals that live there that are predators, but also from these unclean spirits, because they're there. And so what do we have in the modern industrialized world? We don't have so much fairy stories or stories of creatures of the forest. Even in like a lot of Asia, maybe not in Turkey, but in other parts of Asia, like China and Vietnam and Thailand and Korea, they still have all that stuff. Like you can see signs in Japan where it says stay away from here because the turtle men will get you. And they like to drown children. They're called kappas, K-A-P-P-A. and they're evil spirits that are like water drowning spirits that look like little turtle men that have a bowl of water on their head, and stupid. But anyway, the Japanese have their whole pantheon of yokai, which are just all different kinds of spirits that are all over their lives and their world. And China's called Land of the Dragon, whatever that means. You know what I mean? Like, okay. And it's huge. And they're not allowed to believe in ghosts. They're not even allowed to believe in them. So, but yet they, the tradition of the dragon, they still do all that shit or whatever. So these things, whatever remnants of them are left, but in other places in different pockets of the world, it's kind of remained unchanged. That, be wary of the little people. And taking it over to stuff that you or I may be more familiar with, like in terms of Americans or, USA, Canada, English-speaking places, England, Britain, UK. We know about the don't walk into a mushroom circle, don't eat mushrooms. That's one of the things that happens is people eat mushrooms and you'll see little people maybe. I had weird experiences myself. I used to make these water vortex, they're called Ormus traps, and it's a water vortex that you make with magnets, and when you pour the water in, it just makes, it's like magnetized water is like a crude way to put it. And the only reason I got interested in them is because people said that they were drinking this water from the Ormus traps and they were seeing little people, and I kind of wanted to do that because I didn't know anybody. I'm like, I want to see little people. And I'll start talking in different ways of like, how is it that these things could exist that we don't see them? The human eye is limited in what it can see, but the eye of a camera sees so much more. I'll get into all that later. But there are realms, and when we blur the boundaries between corporeal and incorporeal, we can see into different realms. This happens when we sleep. Every time we sleep, there's potential for that. When we take drugs, psychedelic drugs, pharmaceutical drugs, the crazy ambient dreams that people have, the abuse of prescription drugs that people use to get high, you can go through all of those things and see that when you do this stuff, you're blurring. When you drink alcohol, you're blurring, which alcohol means soul-eating spirit or something. If you look up the word etymology of alcohol, I think it comes from Arabic, and it means like life-destroying spirit or life-eating spirit or something. And you call it that, drinking spirits. And look at the damage people cause to their lives when they drink too much. You can really ruin their life. It ruins marriages, right? Like somebody gets drunk and they have an affair, like they regret it, but they're like, I don't know what happened. I blacked out, and next thing you know, I did a horrible thing. And the people sometimes really don't understand. I mean, sometimes people will blame alcohol for they want to do bad stuff, but also, sometimes people just do dumb, like they call it blackout drunk because they don't remember, and they do stuff. When you get blackout drunk, spirits are taking over your body and doing with it what they will, and this gets people in a lot of trouble. People that might be normally reasonable people, like some people have a nickname of the alter ego that comes out of them when they drink too much and they get blackout drunk. They're like, oh boy, here comes, your friend. They have like another name from, like when the asshole comes out because he drinks too much and he just does stuff that's completely out of his personality. You probably could say that he's possessed. I mean, this world is lousy with demons, like fleas on a mangy hound that lives in an alleyway in a city. Demons are all over the place. One guy, when Jesus was around, had a legion of demons in him, and those demons begged God to be cast into a herd of 2,000 swine. That's a lot of demons. So just look at how disgusting we are today. Man is not evolving. We're devolving. And there's a lot of demons around. There's just no way around it. So we have this alien abduction stuff. They're the same story. They're not new. It's just a new coat of paint on the same stuff that's been happening. We used to call it fairies and little people and dwarves and elves and gnomes and leprechauns and tomtays and selkies and kelpies and bogarts and pixies and divas and the dryads and the Ents, like tree people and stuff. The Nephilim, the children, the angel-human hybrid children of Nephilim went around screwing everything. They even were like, here's a knothole in a tree. The guy's as tall as a tree. He's a giant, and he's banging a knothole in a tree, drowning owls and whatever. So anyway, creating life. There's even a place in the Bible. I'm going to have to find where that is because I keep bringing it up, but I don't tell you right where it is in the Bible. But you can look it up on your phone. And there's a place in the Bible where it says, no longer will the beasts give birth to human children. And you're like, what are you talking about? An animal can have a human baby? It's in the Bible. It's just strange. That probably has something to do with the mixing of blood and stuff. Like when God told David to kill the Amalekites, he told them, he said, kill everything, even the livestock. The reason for this was, well, one, the Amalekites were blood lickers. That's what their name means in Hebrew. It means the blood lickers. But also, it's in there that they were shapeshifters, which is strange because I don't know. That was one of the things that I kind of don't really believe in. But that they could change forms and stuff. But they're still talking about shapeshifter stuff today. I mean, it still stays in popular culture, the idea of a shapeshifter. And, you know, like a werewolf would be a shapeshifter. Vampires, you know, the idea Dracula turns into a bat. You know, that's kind of silly, but we know that historically there were people that drank blood, and God specifically told us in the Bible, it's in Leviticus, where he talks about the laws of blood and what you can and can't do with blood and how you're supposed to react to blood. Like, it even gets pretty intense where God talks about women on their periods. And why? Because demons are attracted to blood. God says when you're mourning, it's in the Bible, it's in Leviticus, but also there's stuff that we're not supposed to do that's in Deuteronomy. But anyway, the rules of blood, where he said don't cut yourself. People used to cut themselves, and this is an offering to a demon. It's probably why teenage girls are still doing it. And they asked the teenage girl, why are you doing that to yourself? Why are you hurting yourself? And she's like, I don't know. I know that when I do this and the blood comes out, the pain goes away. It's literally an offering to a demon, because these kids are being tormented by demons. When people I'm going to go back to alien abduction stories. There's so much stuff that I could talk about here. Oh, I talked about shape-shifting. Did you ever hear the stories of changelings? This is part of our fairy folklore, where the fairies or unclean spirits, whatever, will take somebody's child and they'll put the changeling there, and it looks like their kid, but their kid's unresponsive. It may have been like they're kind of like taking something of the spirit of the child, or pushing the child away, so that it's maybe a form of demonic possession, the idea of the changeling. We're like, we don't know what happened to our kid. They're just terrible now. And they're sickly, and they're weak, and they're wicked, and this is probably demonic possession, but they didn't go, they didn't use the authority given to them by God to cast the demons out. So that's changeling. But I think, what I kind of think a changeling is, and this isn't predicated on anything I read, this is just like a guess, is that it's a form of possession where something has a hold of the child, and they're like, that's not our kid. And you're right, it's not. It's the kid's possessed. And then they don't, there are also stories with when parents have a changing and they say, bring our kid back, and then, probably some kind of exorcism is done, or they make an agreement somehow with demons or unclean spirits in another way to actually get, because sometimes this stuff works, they'll do something that's not an exorcism, not of God, to have, spirits fight each other to get, the kid back or whatever, but then they got to pay up in another way. With God, we're supposed to come to him for help. But when you go to do voodoo and stuff to get rid of spirits or whatever, the idea that God says, casting the demons out, and then that demon will see the house that they used to live in order, and then they'll go back out and get 7 demons, and the state of that man will become worse than it was before he had 1 demon cast out, because it'll come back with 7. But these stories of the little people, this is children of Zeus. You see statues of Zeus, and it looks like there's it's like Zeus with his children, carvings or whatever they're made out of, and it looks like a bunch of little babies with Zeus. Yeah, this is what happens when angels mate with women, and then they produce the Nephilim, which are angel-human hybrids, and then they go making animal-human hybrids and all this kind of stuff. This is how little people, not little people that we know today, maybe that's some remnants of their bloodlines. Probably, it's a weird thing to say, but that probably is true. Like, wow, Peter Dinklage is like a child of, he's like from the lineage of Zeus or something. Probably. Something like that. But it doesn't matter anymore. Like, once Jesus showed up, he said, I don't care, the bloodline stuff is over. Like, why bloodline is Gloiven and all that shit doesn't matter anymore, period. So do you accept Jesus as the Messiah or not? Okay, you don't accept Jesus as the Messiah, you're waiting for your Messiah, we're not going to help you, claim what's yours, because you're fake Israel and you're the synagogue of Satan. You're the Pharisees' synagogue of Satan, modern day. That kind of, you're the Skeksis now. The bloodline stuff doesn't matter. It's not true. God opened himself to the Jew and the Gentile. And we're people of Revelation 20 anyway. I'm not even going to I'm just going to keep saying that, because look, God was here already, okay? Every video I've seen on that the millennial kingdom isn't real is so ignorant and so uninformed, and I was like, wow, their videos usually look pretty good, but whenever they get into this denial of Satan's short season stuff, it just, all their bullshit falls apart. It's not been refuted. Nobody's successfully refuted it, and whether they think they have or not, it's just all done from ignorance. And so anyway, I'm tired. I should have done this. Maybe I'll have to redo this one. Let's talk about the orbs thing. Oh, this fairy stuff. Bosch and Bruegel's. Look at the paintings they did. They used to get high. This is blurring boundaries between corporeal and incorporeal. People talk about seeing aliens. I think Joe Rogan's one of those people where he said, I saw the meditating little green man. They see the cosmic gestures. They see little people. Terrence McKenna and the machine elves. This is like a lot of stuff that Terrence McKenna talked about with his drug trips was set up for stuff that they want to do now that fits into what they call Agenda 21, which is agenda for the 21st century. I don't think people equate this with Terrence McKenna a lot, but when he was talking about stuff that he got from drug trips, that he was told basically by unclean spirits, was that the white man was evil and had to be gotten rid of, and all this like ethnic cleansing and stuff like that, and eliminating white people is one of the things that Terrence McKenna got from his drug trips. A lot of the stuff that he talked about was stuff that's political today, but he was like, well, this is how it has to be. That little moron. Where do you think Terrence is? Do you think he got in, or do you think he's having a hot oil bath still? Anyway, I don't like Terrence McKenna. I don't like Dennis McKenna. Sorry. I know we're supposed to love everybody. I hope they get into heaven, but anyway, Joe Rogan was a guy who was one of the thing that made me not like Joe Rogan is that I saw him for what he was. He's like a modern day Timothy Leary. It started out where he went on Jim Brewer radio show, and it became a famous clip in the early days of YouTube where Joe Rogan's talking about how crazy his DMT trip was, and he said, you haven't lived unless you had a psychedelic experience, because you have no idea what the world's like. And now people take DMT and they see the purple DMT lady and they relay messages to each other, because you're going into another realm, and that realm is accessible when you blur the boundaries between corporeal and incorporeal. People talk about their DMT trips and they say they lived multiple lifetimes, and they don't understand how to explain it. Like they were high for 10 minutes, but time was distorted. They're in realms, and that's a big part of our future, is getting people to be high all the time, to blur the boundaries between corporeal and incorporeal, so that they can trap us in realms. They want to take our bodies, and they want good bodies. So I think that has a lot to do with the social Darwinism stuff that they have. It's a survival of the fittest mindset that Darwin recanted on in his deathbed, and he's like, that's not really what I ever said. I didn't say that. And he may have like tried to correct that before he was on his deathbed, but that's one of the things I remember, if I'm remembering it properly, about Darwin, was that he was like, that's not what I said. But anyway, what we think of as Darwinism and all survival of the fittest stuff. But the demons want bodies they can take. Hypnotism is a part of this. Like hypnotize a person, push them out of the way, and they're open to some suggestions. Who makes the suggestions? The hypnotist. But who's helping the hypnotist? Demons. If you look at, this is crazy. There was a video I saw, I forget whose video it was, because I would tell you to watch them. There was a video I saw on YouTube where it says, here's old posters of hypnotists and magicians, and they always have a demon whispering in their ears. Like every single one, like you could just go through them. And I know some people collect this stuff because it's like a rare thing. Like other magicians will collect the ephemera of magicians, like the posters for their engagements. Like, here's Houdini, he's gonna be wherever. And there's all these magicians and hypnotist guys, and they always have a demon on their shoulder. There's always a demon on the poster somewhere. It's like letting the audience know, like, if you come here, you've it's like disclosure to the audience. Like, if you come here, you're making a contract, because it says on the poster that there's a demon with this guy. So it's like you're setting up your openness and your willingness that they have legal authority. Like, we told them the poster had demon whispering to the hypnotist guy. So now when you go to the show, you've kind of opened yourself up to be subject to what do you want to call it? Like, to be influenced. Like you've made an agreement to go along with whatever it goes. You saw that there was a demon with the guy. You're not supposed to do that, so you went here. So now, we can have our way with you. You can be influenced by demons at the show. And we know how the government, the military researches hypnotism. I mean, this is Manchurian Candidate stuff. This is programming. This is MK Ultra, programming people how to do things. It's brainwashing people, traumatizing people to get them to do whatever you want. And part of the traumatizing of MK Ultra is made pretty transparent with the Stranger Things stuff, where they're traumatizing children to open portals, and the portals, demons come through, and then the kids have powers and abilities far beyond that of a mortal man. And that's research they did with MK Ultra, was psyops. I mean, psychic abilities and all this stuff. Yeah, it was psyops, but psychic abilities and all that stuff. And it's the same thing as mediumship. It is the same thing. Like, you're opening yourself to this influence. And instead of somebody submitting to God and like the man being broken and going before God and asking for help, they're breaking people, whether it's, and against their will, they're breaking people and opening them not up to God but to the demonic, so that the demons, the dead, drowned spirits of things that were drowned during the flood, because they're not allowed to go to heaven, they're not in hell. They're here on the earth, they haunt the earth, and they're tortured beings. And they latch onto us so that they can have our experiences. Like, you know, if we're a soul and a spirit and a body, they're just dead spirits now. They don't have the body, but when people get possessed and they latch on us, they can take over and they get to live. And they were evil. I mean, they were so evil that God flooded the earth. So when they get a hold of us, they go crazy. They want to do the stuff that they did when they were here that pissed God off so much that he flooded the earth. He killed everything and start over again. And then he even tells us, like, you know, the dead things that come out of the sea. Yeah, because he drowned the whole world for, you know, 40 days and 40 nights where he drowned everything, except for Noah and his family. And so you're going to see stuff with the alien agenda about aliens in the ocean. This is disclosure in their way of telling you, like, yes, we're from the Marine Kingdom. The aliens aren't from outer space. They're already here. They're down here with us. But we can't see them like the eye of a camera can see them. Remember when people were taking orb photos and other people tried to write it off and say, it's not orbs, it's just like dust or pollen in the air? No. They're getting pictures of, I would say, unclean spirits. I mean, this goes back to the fairy stuff from the, you know, like UK, Britain, England stuff. The will-o'-the-wisp, these little balls of light that they could see back then. When they were cutting down all the forests over there, there was like a resurgence in stories about fairies and the little people and the fae folk and all this stuff. And what they try to tell us is that it was because since we were losing this history and losing the forests and the woods, like people, there was like this last hurrah of the stories of things that would go, like if you went into the woods, it was like a dangerous, perilous place. There was a lot of people get drowned, a lot of people go in and never come back again. A lot of people would have missing time and they'd come back. They'd step inside of a fairy circle and they'd watch the fairies dance and cavort, and then, you know, they'd come back and they were like years older because they're like, wow, you don't understand. It was like Narnia. We spent a whole bunch of time, you know, do you know about Narnia, where they go into the wardrobe, they go into a closet and takes them to another realm, but when they come back, years have passed? Well, that's based on being led away by the little people, the fairies. Christina Rossetti's poem of the Goblin Market, where this girl goes into fairyland and she goes to the market of the goblins and they try and get her to eat stuff and drink stuff and she's not supposed to do it. That's the same thing that happens to us when we sleep. If you look on other people's videos as well as mine, I have a whole playlist called Spiritual Warfare in the Dream Realm, where in your sleep and your dreams, I don't know if you know this, but you're not supposed, when you go to sleep, you're not supposed to eat anything, you're not supposed to drink anything, you're not supposed to sign any paperwork, you're not supposed to have sex. None of these things are acceptable, and all of these things are making covenants, sometimes consummating covenants. If you have an orgasm in your sleep and your dreams, and, you know, it's a messy thing for a man, but it's also can be a messy thing for a woman, but that's consummating of an evil covenant. And the stories of people being led away, like this idea of a spirit spouse, I just did a video on that. I don't know when you're going to see it though, but you look at my spiritual warfare playlist and you can see if the spirit spouse videos in there. Being married to demons in your sleep. They just made a movie about this. This Johnny Depp's daughter is in the Nosferatu remake by like Dave Eggers or something. And it's about that. Like she calls out to, she's lonely, so she calls out for like a spirit lover, and then it ruins her life, and that's the Nosferatu. I don't recommend seeing that movie. Don't see that Dave Eggers Nosferatu movie with Johnny Rose Depp. What's her name? Johnny Depp's daughter. I got part of it. So don't see that movie. You can watch people's reviews of it, and I think Vicky Joy Anderson has a good video on L.A. Marzulli has a good video telling you what that movie's about, so that you don't have to watch it. And it is about like the spirit spouse stuff, like having ties to a dead, unclean spirit sexually. People will talk about this. People will talk about being violated by demons against their will. It's in Ghostbusters when Dan Aykroyd gets blowed by the ghost. when what's her name? Ripley. What's I can't remember the actress's name. When Dana gets taken by the Zool, she gets possessed by the spirit of Zool or the terror dogs or whatever. And so what does she want to do? She's the gatekeeper and she's looking for the keymaster. And the whole point of that is that she had bang Rick Moranis or whatever. Yeah, it's about creating this like human spirit realm hybrid. You know what I'm talking about? So it's in Ghostbusters. Dan Aykroyd's a weirdo. His whole family was into the spiritist movement stuff, and his dad was channeling spirits the whole time he was growing up. So Dan Aykroyd and he's into aliens. He has the Crystal Skull vodka and all this stuff. So aliens are demons, and they will have secrets of technology and stuff like that for us. But if you look through the past into the stories of the little people and the fairy folk and fairies and goblins and all this stuff, and all the stuff of the UK and Britain and England and Ireland and Scotland and the Celts, they're all about that stuff. The stories of the Green Man, the will-o'-the-wisps, which is the orbs, which are just, you know, like us being able to see. Let's talk about this. Why can't we see them? This is like 2D. I heard it explained like a video game. When you see a side-scrolling video game, like how old video games used to be, is you sometimes you couldn't go backwards, you could only go forwards. So they're 2D characters going across the screen. It's a limited perspective. But if you're the one playing the video game or watching somebody play the video game, you have a different perspective. Here's the little character on the screen that can only go, you know, it's flat and it's going this way across the screen, but you can see what's ahead. That's kind of spirit realm stuff. Do you know that the definition of what the word demon means is demons are those who see, they who see. So they see more than us. That's why sometimes demons can prognosticate, or they can see the trend of things. You know, like they'll give. You know, it's one thing to have a premonition, a dream, a premonitory dream. So, and what you're supposed to do if you have a dream like that is pray to God that the thing that you saw doesn't happen, to break it. Something bad's going to happen. I'll take it to Jesus and I'll say, Lord, I saw something bad's going to happen. I had a premonition, a premonitory dream about it. Make sure, please, Lord, make sure it doesn't happen. By the authority granted by Him, you break it so it doesn't happen. That's what you're supposed to do. But it's different when you go to a fortune teller and the fortune teller tells you stuff that's going to happen in the future, and you'll be surprised that it does happen. Like sometimes those things do happen. It's because they have a different viewpoint. It's like you're just the side-scrolling video game character. That's all you can see, whatever's in front of you, and you can't go back. But, you know, from like a 3D perspective, if you want to call it that, maybe a 4D perspective for a demon, I don't know. But they're seeing the game, they're seeing you playing, they can see what's ahead of you on the screen. They can see what's behind you. They can kind of see the trend of things or where things may be going. We have, you know, the future is malleable. We can't change things, but they can see the trend of things. It's a different perspective. It's one thing to be a flat side-scrolling character that you can only see what's in front of you and you can't go back. It's another thing to be seeing the game that's being played, and you know, and what's ahead for the character. And you know, you can make predictions based on that kind of thing. So how do you see more the way that demons see? Dangerous. You're going into their realm, taking mushrooms, DMT, psychedelic drugs, mixing pharmaceutical drugs to get high, and the results are always the same. It's not good for you. It's not good to have these experiences. People talk, well, I saw these crazy DMT experiences and all stuff, and you come out of it and you want to go back there. And then you come out of it and it really doesn't do anything to make your life better. But part of the future that they have planned for us, and I do have a lot of videos on this. If you look at my playlists, I have a lot of playlists. There are a lot of videos on my YouTube channel and on my even more on my Rumble channel, where I talk about the future they want to lead us into. Is they want to trap people in these realms, so they can push the person out of the way and take our bodies. So it would seem to me, because it is part, like when they asked to see what the future of Netflix was. In short, he said Netflix and pills. He said he wanted the people to have a more full sensory experience, so he invested a lot in drugs that you take to watch Netflix, and so you can be programmed. Which is what's underneath it all. And there's movies made on this. Robin Wright's The Congress. Robin Wright stars in the movie The Congress. Harvey Keitel plays her agent. Robin Wright is playing herself in this movie, and she sells her likeness rights. Because she's very beautiful. She was a Princess Bride. You remember her? She was Jenny in Forrest Gump, and a whole bunch of other things. So anyway, Robin Wright sells her likeness rights so that animators can animate her into movies, and she'll always be young and beautiful. Meanwhile, she retires and she doesn't act anymore because she's got old, but she still gets the money. So she's like set for life. Because she sold her likeness rights and is going to continue to get like residuals or had a big payday out of it, because it's like, okay, Robin Wright's not going to be in movies anymore. Now we're gonna animate her being young and beautiful. Now AI does all that shit. But what happens next in the movie is that Robin Wright takes drugs and goes into Toontown, and that's what the Congress is. The Congress is being online and being high, and you're wandering around in virtual reality, being online all the time, being avatar but not your real self, which is what we do when we play video games. But the next level is taking drugs to have a fully immersive experience. What also is happening with that is you're blurring the boundaries between corporeal and incorporeal, and you are in that, you're going into realms. I don't even know how many different realms there are, but we know that there are realms. And when you see the cosmic gesture, you see these clowns. When you take drugs, psychedelic clowns that people talk about. When you see the Terrence McKenna machine elves, when you see meditating Joe Rogan aliens, and like I've heard stories of trips where they're talking to the little green men, and they're laughing, making fun of us and telling us not to take life so seriously. When you see the feathered serpent, when you take ayahuasca. Do you know that the ayahuasca thing, the government is literally using MK Ultra and like extremely low frequency technology to intrude upon people's thoughts, to influence their drug trips when they take ayahuasca? That's crazy. That's really happening. That is insane. So we're not just being influenced when we go into realms by spirits and unclean spirits. It's also weaponized technology that our government knows about, that it's using to influence people. And I could go into this whole, Michael Aquino and Temple of Set stuff, and that what's underneath our military is occultism and Satanism and stuff like that. Because the further you go up, like we talk about the wealthy elites whose fortunes shape the fates of nations. They're the elites, they're the elites, they're the people that may or may not still retain, that know that their lineage is, like, say Nephilim bloodlines. But it doesn't matter anymore. It's like everybody's blood's kind of tainted now. That's why it was important to Jesus to say, this is after the floods, even. Right up until today, Jesus said, believe in me, know that I'm the Messiah, and do the will of our Father who art in heaven. But don't worry about my mother and my brothers. Better is he who hears the word of God and does it. So he wants, if you want to talk to God the Father, you got to go through me. So it doesn't matter what our bloodline is. So it doesn't matter if you're Rothschilds or Rockefellers or Carnegies or the royal bloodlines of King Charles and going back to Vlad the Impaler and all that shit. None of that stuff matters anymore. Do you accept that Jesus is the Messiah? That's the value. That's like, it's criterion thing. It's most important. The Messiah, he is the Messiah. So, and some people know that he is a Messiah and they reject that, and they want to lead as many people away from it as possible, because if you find God, you want to pray for help and you want to pray for the world, then you're praying against their plans. When you pray to Jesus for help for the whole world, you're praying against the plans of the elites, and the elites are the Elites. And they're obsessed with their lineages of these evil bloodlines that, do what they plot and plan the future of mankind in defiance of God, because they're getting help from demons, and what the demons want is blood, which is what God told us we're forbidden to fool around with. Thou shalt not drink the blood of any living thing while its lifeblood runs through it. It's something like that, and it means like don't drink the blood of anything while it's still alive. What's a vampire do? They bite onto your neck and they drink the blood right from the tap. And there was this TV show, it was an HBO show called True Blood, and the vampires would get high drinking people's blood, and then the people would drink the vampire blood and they would get high. And I don't know, a lot of people, know a lot of things about vampires, but I don't know if you know this, but the way that you become a vampire is not that they drink your blood. It's that you drink their blood. That's how you become a vampire. You drink the blood of a vampire to become a vampire. Actually, I think that Joel Schumacher, The Lost Boys, gets it right, because they're hanging out, and this is the famous line that I used to make fun of. Drink the blood, Michael. They want him to drink Keith Sutherland's blood and he becomes a vampire. Getting your blood drank by a vampire, I think, bonds you to them, and it's like it's more like if a vampire drinks your blood, you're like a slave to them because they're feeding off of you. But if you drink their blood, then that's how you become like Twilight or whatever. Oh yeah, that's how it happens I guess everybody does know that's how you become a vampire, because doesn't what happen? She's dying, so they give her vampire blood when she's having a baby, and then she becomes a vampire, right? She's dying in childbirth, trying to give birth to the vampire baby, so they give her vampire blood, and then she becomes one. Whatever. What do you want to be after high school, Bella? You want to roll around with the dogs and be a werewolf shapeshifter? Or you want to join the elites and become a glistening, shiny reptile, soulless being that it's just going to cost you your soul, that's all. And then you have to drink the blood of the living. That's what the demons do. They romanticize. They want sympathy for the devil. They're romanticizing their role in things. They want us to feel sorry for them. They want women to lust after the angels. They want them to lust after the unclean spirits, the dead Nephilim spirits. And like, oh, what if what if your boyfriend could be a vampire? It sounds dumb, but like this is a thing that turns women on. I mean, when women are so stupid now that they have a thing called Minotaur milking farm, that's ball worship. It's saying, here's a bull-headed man, don't you want to milk a bull? You don't milk a bull. That's dirty. Milk a bull. To literally want to have sex with a beast. And the men, the sirens of the sea, there's like a cottage genre, there's like maybe we call it cottage industry, or like part of the genre of horror now is like mermaid movies. I had no idea how many mermaid horror movies were. And the story of that is, they kill men. But it's different with a woman. The woman has a womb, so they can bring more of their kind here. So the idea that women would, live to tell the story of their tryst with a demon lover, it's because they want to make more, like there's fallen angels, human women, that's Nephilim. Then Nephilim, dead spirits of different things, human women making another kind of demonic offspring, part human, part something else. And that's what they want. And it's all shit that God flooded the earth because of. So what does it say about the last days? In the last days it will be like the days of Noah. What's the days of Noah? When the earth was so disgusting with unclean, evil creatures and blood drinking and shit that he flooded the earth. But God said, I won't flood the earth again. Now I'm going to rain fire down. And one thing that nobody disputes is that the earth was flooded. The whole world has this story of the flooded earth. But it's only the Christian Bible that gets everything right, that makes it make sense, that you can take it to other people's nonsense religions and they can see through the distortions to see that how the Bible makes sense, and that none of everything else is incomplete. God divided our tongues so the stories about what happened to the world come out differently, but through Jesus Christ it's all united and it makes sense. Because that's the one true story. It's the story of the Son of God, not the Sun God bullshit that you get from Zeitgeist and all that, the lies of all that. Remember the Zeitgeist movie? Bullshit. Or Baal shit. B-A-A-L-S-H-A. And they, like the Marvel superheroes aren't popular anymore. Everybody's tired of that. They still want us to worship and venerate the old gods in a different way. And what are the Marvel DC superheroes that were so popular for like 10, 15 years? Till pissed out. They are the children of the Nephilim. And, all that. All of them. How many superheroes are fallen angels? Batman's the Dark Knight. He looks like a demon with bat wings and shit. What's that? Because when they made Batman movie with Tim Burton, it wasn't about the 1950s going to get laid Batman and it's a party and everything with bright colors. No, it was the Dark Knight and everything's all goth and proto-emo or whatever you want to call it. and it's like a vampire, like Batman, like a vampire. He's hiding in alleys and he's like wearing a leather daddy guy and everything. He's making out with the Joker in the rain, upside down, and all that shit. It's gay. That's. I guess I started with aliens aliens and fairies it's all demons, all right. But if you look if you think about the folklore of fairies and stuff, it's the same stories as the alien abduction stories. Lost time, weird sex, people just going missing, and all that stuff. That's the alien abductions, demons, same thing. What's the antidote for all that? Calling out Jesus' name to make it all go away, asking for help from Jesus. And again, it's nothing new. I mean, this stuff happens when we sleep. They try and get us to do the same things that you're not supposed to do. If you look at the rules of fairies and elves and all the stuff you're not supposed to do, don't eat anything, don't drink anything. It's the same advice for when you sleep. Don't eat anything, don't drink anything, don't have sex with anybody. Don't stay out of their realms. And now people are like on purpose going into it. They're doing, what is it, ibogaine, which is some kind of psychedelic. Oh, here's PTSD. I saw this crazy video. I have to put this in here. There's a crazy video of a soldier that had killed people and done horrible things, and he took ibogaine, and he was like a testimonial for ibogaine, and he literally said, well, now that I've been on ibogaine, like, well, the difference was I had horrible PTSD, and I went out and I killed people and I did horrible things that they told us to do, and torture tactics and all this stuff, and he had PTSD because of that. But they gave him ibogaine, and now he said he doesn't have the fear of the guilt anymore. He said, I could go out now, that he could go out now and he could kill and just do whatever he was told without remorse. And that's what they want to give to our soldiers, a thing that takes away the PTSD, the guilt, and the shame of the evil stuff that you've done, and it takes it away so that now you could just go out and be an unstoppable killing machine. And if you start to have PTSD, take ibogaine and you won't have any regrets about it. You would just coldly murder, and you could coldly, easily do all the horrible things you did before. And that was a testimonial from a PTSD soldier about why we should take ibogaine. And Joe Rogan's like, hey, yeah, you should. And then the president's like, we're gonna do the ibogaine thing. What an asshole. So yeah, so how do we make soldiers without remorse? Ibogaine. Great. And Joe Rogan's a coward. You know, like, why doesn't he speak out about Peter Thiel? He would have, but now he knows the guy. So maybe Joe Rogan knows something that we don't. And I think that, you know, considering how he behaves with that information makes him a coward. And he talked about AI Jesus. God hates cowards, you know that? So Bosch and Bruegels, is ergot poisoning coming back into vogue? Like tripping on ergot? Because Bosch and Bruegels were two famous painters from the past. Maybe I will, maybe I won't include images of theirs. They did, you know, I forget who did what, but one of those paintings is garden. They're doing all these paintings of fairies and stuff like that, because they were getting high on ergot, and they were blurring the boundaries between corporeal and incorporeal, and they were seeing little people and having, you know, delusions and stuff like that, and visions of hell and all these things, and seeing the demons that are in our lives. They could see them. And there's also another artist. He was an artist that did a famous painting of fairies, and this artist is called Richard Dadd. And Richard Dadd went crazy, and he killed someone, and then they locked him up, and he spent the rest of his life in an asylum, or in and out of asylums, I can't remember. And he did this famous painting called the Fairy Feller's Masterstroke, and it's just a cacophony of little people. And the guy's possessed, and he painted fairies and stuff because he could see those things, and it probably has something to do with whatever medications they were giving him in combination with whatever it is that was wrong with him. So he had the boundaries between corporeal and incorporeal blurred, so he could see stuff that we normally don't see. And again, with this, did I talk about the Ormus water? I feel like I did already. I used to make these water traps. I'm sorry if I'm telling this again, but I want to elaborate on it some more. So to reiterate if I said this before. I used to make these water traps with magnets, and I'd make little vortexes. And the reason I was interested in that was because people said they could see little people when they did that. So there's a lot of, if you can probably still find this stuff online, maybe even in YouTube videos, of people talking about drinking this Ormus water stuff that they made. And they're like, it's like alchemy stuff, and they're like putting flecks of gold in it and stuff like that, and mixing it all up. And then they could drink this concoction of water. And that's not really a concoction, it's just like centrifuged water. I don't know what else you would call it. And then they could see little people. And I kind of wanted to do that because I didn't know that they were evil. I was like, I want to see that stuff. And all that happened with me when I made the water vortexes was I would run it through the trap. I made two of them. I did talk about this before, I think. And I would put it in these glass jars, and then the jars would break, like over and over again. Like I don't know what it was that I was doing. That I would put the water, water would run through the centrifuge thing, the vortex, water vortex with the magnets and reverse polarities and all that stuff. And then it would crack the glass, and I'd lose the water. It would happen all the time. Like sometimes I'd get to drink it, and sometimes the glass would crack. I'm like, I don't know what to do about that. It just would keep happening. You know, but it's strange. You know, like why would water run through a vortex, crack the glass? Not right away. Like it would take time. I'd let the water set, and then it would just the whole thing would be would be ruined. I'm looking at have notes here. So that's part of what they want to do for our future is they want to blur the boundaries between corporeal and incorporeal. You know, God has his earth and we're to be sober, but what they want is for us to be high so that they can put us in realms. It's like here's what's better than normal life, our counterfeit of it. You know, when in the Matrix movie, remember in the Matrix movie, there's that one guy played by Joey Pantalone, and he says, I want to go back into the Matrix. I hate this. I'm eating gruel. They have techno raves. The music sucks. Just put me back in the Matrix. So he makes a deal with the, you know, force of darkness or whatever to rat out his friends in the real world so that he can go back into the Matrix because it's a better life for him in there than eating gruel and techno raves and all that stuff. And that's, you know, some people are going to just want to stay in the Matrix. Some people are happy. Like this is the 2020 nostalgia stuff. When we went under lockdowns, there's a lot of, if you look up 2020 nostalgia on YouTube, you're going to get results because some people are nostalgic for being under lockdowns when stuff was just delivered to them and they could stay in and they didn't have to go to work. And what did they do? Play video games and make TikTok thirst traps, depending how old you were. And that was the way they communicated to the world. And there's a lot of movies on this. Ready Player One is about a future where everybody's living in shipping containers. It's a Spielberg movie. Everybody's living in shipping containers, and they're just online all the time, playing games. The kids aren't friends in real life. They're friends online in school because everybody does K-12 schooling. And nobody knows what anybody looks like because everybody's represented by avatars. You know, like the idea of Leslie Jones from Ghostbusters hiding behind an avatar. Whatever. So there's a joke there somehow. And that's what they want for us. They want us to have their counterfeit of life. They want to say, look, God, see, they'd rather be in the world that we put them in. And then, of course, they're going to prey upon us and kill us and all that stuff and the rapes and all the things and steal our bodies and do shit with our bodies while we're, like, you know, gone away to another place. And they don't want us to pray to God for help because that's who can stop them. Our prayers to God can ruin their plans. They don't want their plans ruined. They have a new agenda for the 21st century. And they want us to worship aliens or, oh, hey, look, the aliens are here and they have a message for mankind. What do you know? The message they have for mankind is exactly the same message as Agenda 21 checkpoints, every single fucking one of them. That's what they want. And, you know, stay in, play games, in the future own nothing. Yeah, like if you can play a game and not be online, they can't control you. But if you're online and you have to fit into social credit system, and you have to, like, you can't use your Sony PlayStation without scanning your face and all the shit that you're hearing about now. That's awful. Yeah, I mean, you can see them rolling out the, like, you're not going to own anything stuff. And, you know, it's not working. People are hating it and rejecting it and making lawsuits, and then the results of the lawsuits are like, well, we'll give you virtual credit. We have to give you some money back. I think Sony had to pay back $7 million, which is like fucking nothing to them. They had to give $7 million in refunds, and they're not even giving anybody money. They're like, well, we'll give you like credits that you can't use unless you scan your face for their play stupid games or go around and ritualistically kill people. Video games and killing things and killing people. Think about this. There's two different ways to do a ritual. You can symbolically do the ritual, that's, you know, dressing up like a bison and in the skin of a bison, and then your tribesmen pretend to kill you, and then they do that as a ritual before they go out and do the hunt. That's a ritual. In the Bible, Jesus said, you don't have to actually have sex with that woman. You just have to imagine it. And that's the sin. You've lusted after her in your heart. So what happens when you're not actually killing people, but you play Call of Duty every night, and you keep putting yourself in war, or whatever game it is, and you go around killing? Grand Theft Auto, great example. You go around in Grand Theft Auto creating crimes. This is an evil spiritual covenant. They try and trick you, and they try and trick us into this stuff in our dreams to get us to do, here, put this in your pocket. Do immoral things in your dreams, and the demons are like, we have right to attack him, Lord, because in the dream he went along with this. That's why you gotta wake up and break dream covenants. It's different when you're playing a video game and you're killing a bunch of people or robbing stuff. One, it's just unhealthy to think like that, you know, like just to desensitize yourself to mass murdering and stuff like that through video games. And I know a lot of games are killing monsters and stuff like that, but there's a lot of things about, you know, immoral things that you can do in video games, and a lot of it, you know, killing other people or killing hordes of people, or just like machine gunning down whatever. There's so many different games. You know, even in Mario Kart, you're running over things and, you know, blowing people up and shit, which sounds silly, but I mean, like, you know, there's more extreme examples, like Call of Duty, where it's World War II and you're a lesbian, red-headed amputee that weighs 98 pounds, you know, in World War II and Call of Duty, and all that shit. But it's killing. Like, it doesn't matter whether you're really killing people or not. Like, you're enjoying the imagining of killing people, and it's really sophisticated imagining because the graphics are so great and everything. And same thing, you know, like it does something to our brains if you're just like watching cartoon avatars' asses all the time, and then next thing you know, you want to be a cat boy or whatever. Anime is a psyop, obviously. Look at what it did to Japan. They love anime, they really do. And they have a negative population rate, and they live in micro apartments, and they like to eat bugs. I know there's a lot of cool things about Japan too. They have a lot of cool opinions. Like, there's no one people in the world. Like, you know, there's good in people all over the world. I'm not, you know, like, I'm a follower of Jesus Christ, and I know, like, you know, like, that Muslims, that teaching's wrong and everything, but, you know, the idea of wearing hijabs and all that shit, that was fake Israel, like, inculcated that into them. You can see, you know, Palestinian videos from the 1980s, and the girls have 80s hair, and they're modernly dressed, and it seemed like they're, you know, like somebody you could hang out with. And now look at what they did with the radicalization of Islam and the hijabs, and all the you know, the women weren't mistreated like they are now. And, you know, a lot of people are armchair Muslims in America anyway, so does that mean that Muslims are bad people? No. I just, you know, the video is supposed to be about aliens and fairies are like the same thing. Demons. But the stories of the fairies, like, if you want to do an in-depth video, if you make videos and you look into the history of fairies and elves and all that shit, it's the same things as the alien abduction stories. It's just like, you know, now we do because of science and it's aliens, and that's the new coat of paint on that. And in the old days, before everything was about science, it was more probably what was true, which is fairies and elves, and don't go into the woods and be pixie-led, and Rip Van Winkle and all that shit. The lost time of the alien abduction stories, the lost time of Washington Irving's Rip Van Winkle, the lost time of the histories throughout, let's just call it UK folklore, where people went into the woods and they came back. Like, the story of Rip Van Winkle, there's a lot of that same story. Like, Rip Van Winkle is a famous American story from the early days of America, the United States now. But that's just old European stories of going into the woods and being led astray, and it's lost time. You're going into their realms. And it's the same thing that happens when people take psychedelic drugs. They live whole lifetimes in the DMT realm, like multiple. They live, it's like time is different, and you're in a different dimension, and people talk about how it's ultra realistic and more real than this world and stuff like that. And it's a different perspective. It's a difference between looking at a side-scrolling 2D game that you're playing and you know, and being in that, like, you know, the idea of being the side-scrolling character, your limited vantage point of what you can see from the perspective, you know, 2D perspective versus 3D perspective. And then you take drugs and you have like maybe a 4D perspective. You can see even more. You're seeing what they see, and it's a trap. And you know, aliens or demons. And is there anything else I didn't get to on my notes? I have like limited notes. Well, Timothy Leary, the counterculture revolution in the 1960s. Timothy Leary is always associated with that. Tune in, turn on, drop out. He openly said that everything he did for Lucifer. Like, he looks into the camera and he says that everything he did for Lucifer. So counter to culture means anti-family movement. The culture, what's the culture of America? It was families, Christian families. It was predominant. This was a Christian country when it was good. We loved God, feared him, and obeyed him, right, to whatever degree we were able. But the 1960s counterculture revolution was about destroying that. That was the culture. The culture was Christian families. So counterculture means against that, going against that. Drop out of society, don't help build it anymore, take drugs, free love, and get possessed by demons. And you know, Timothy Leary told us that he did that for Lucifer. And that's probably how they came up with, you know, like, how did they come up with those combinations for psychedelic drugs to ruin our minds and make the 1970s a burnout of the 60s drugs? Demons. Now we have AI. We're building this AI system. AI everything, blaming AI for everything. And what are the go-getters for AI that accumulate all the data of stuff that they steal from everywhere? Because AI steals, it just collates things, like makes collages of things. Really fascinating stuff, right, to look at. You know, what it's capable of. But the go-getters for all this data that's, you know, recombined and put together, whatever it is, they're called daemons. Daemons. And yeah, you're summoning demons. You're doing like King Solomon stuff when you're working with the AI stuff. You're looking into your scry stone on your phone or whatever, and you're conjuring, which God forbid us to do. And what is it? Stealing. Basically, the daemons are stealing parts of things. So, you know, we're being set up for a world where we don't have to do anything. We just kind of fall into it. You know, God told us we'll toil. So what do the demons do? Say, we'll give you every kind of thing we can to alleviate all the things that were used to teach us after Adam and Eve got kicked out of the garden. All the things he told us that, you know, would be like, you know, I don't want to say, I guess you could say curses on us, like man will toil, you'll do this, you'll do that. All the things that people worship and venerate gods for, fake gods, and that aren't really gods at all, just these dead Nephilim and all these unclean spirits and fallen angels. They're alleviating, it's like a relative attempt, like to whatever degree, like worship us and we'll alleviate the things that God punishes you for. and you know, it's one thing to pray to God, it's another thing to go to false idols and bow down before them. You're going to get preyed upon by demons. I mean, God, Solomon, the wisest man there ever was, so we're told. Probably Adam was smarter, but after him, Solomon or whatever. he used to tell demons what to do. This is Lesser Keys of Solomon stuff. And then he bowed down before a false idol, and he felt the Spirit of God left him, and the whole rest of his life he was tormented by demons, because they found a way to get to him, and they got to him, and now they had legal right to attack him. And they want to do that to us. They want to make our lives so miserable. It's dialectic. It's like they're creating problems for us to make society collapse, and they'll say, here's what we're willing to do to help everybody. You're gonna have to live in a pod, you're gonna have to eat bugs, it's part of your humiliation, and you can be online all the time, and you can be in other world, and you can be online and high, just so long as you obey, just so long as you do what we say. And then you won't have to suffer all those things that God told us that we would have to suffer through, and which is to build us and to lift us up and to set things right, and to build us up. And they're like, no, don't build anything. You don't need to be built up. Just let us take care of it. But before we get to that point of like smart cities, and they want us to fight and kill each other, and to send as many people to hell as possible. Like, the legalistic ways of demons going to God and saying, God, but we didn't do that to them. We just set it up, and they did the rest. They did those things. Those were their choices. They didn't have to do those things. We just set it up to put him, like Book of Job, where it's like the demons aren't allowed to kill him, but they're allowed to torment him. So we're being tormented. They're trying to torment us to the point where, go ahead, if we can get you to do that to yourself, go ahead, shuffle yourself off. We're not allowed to do that, but if we can push you to it, good. And if you can, we can't get, if we can get you guys to kill each other, then that's great, because we just set it up, but you knocked it down. Now you go to hell. Those were your free will choices. You're the one that chose to go against God. Here's the punishment for that. You didn't go to God and ask for help. You didn't repent. You didn't change. We got you now. You lived your life. Now that life was cut off, you don't get a do-over. Because misery loves company. These are doomed beings that know that that they've already lost, that know that they will go to hell. These are twisted, distorted, perverted beings when they were alive, and they've only gotten more twisted and distorted and perverted, now that they're dead. And, all the, the narcissism and pride and vanity and ego stuff of fallen angels, being haunted by the nagging wives of the moms of the Nephilim, nagging, fallen angels. But tell us this. How do you do that? And I'll just tell you how to do it. Just stop. And that's why wives nag. It's a punishment for fornicating, right? You taste the fruit before marriage. You're gonna have a husband that doesn't listen and isn't paying attention to you, and a wife that nags. It's probably the Nephilim being, not Nephilim, the fallen watchers being nagged by their wives that lusted after them. So he said, fine, God's going to divorce us. Go into the sea. You guys are mermaids now, so you can't spread your legs for the angels. So the Starbucks cup has a mermaid spreading her mermaid tail so you can get in there. In defiance of God. Cult of Starbucks. So yeah, I've been telling people that are in my life, look, they're gonna do, don't be scared about this. When you're terrified about the alien disclosure stuff, however they're gonna do that. I'm telling you now, before it happens, they're gonna do alien disclosure stuff, and they're gonna, and I try and tell it it's political, it's a political trap. They're gonna do this fake alien stuff, and then they're going to use that to make us do whatever it is the aliens tell us to do. It's going to be something like that. This is what I've been telling people that I care about. So, and I said, when it happens, you're going to feel scared and all this stuff. Remember that I'm telling you that you should be pissed off about it, not scared. So don't be, do not fear, do not be dispirited. Because they're going to do this. They're going to do this alien stuff. And you know, if you look into the past of fairies and elves and goblins and all that shit, it's the same thing as the alien stuff. You know, like, don't go there, don't hang out with them. You're in different realms, different dimensions. And the other piece that's been added to that is drugs. And taking the drugs and seeing fairies and elves and goblins is nothing new, because Bosch and Brugels did that, and a whole bunch of other artists that painted crazy shit. We're taking drugs and blurring the boundaries between corporeal and incorporeal and channeling the stuff that they saw into our world. And, you know, to get us to worship and honor and venerate them instead of being disgusted and hating them. They're setting us up. They're setting us up. They're setting traps and snares for us. And, you know, so there's also, this stuff has come back into popularity. The mermaid stuff is all over the place. Unicorns, whatever that means, the unicorn shit. And fairies and elves, like, that stuff's way popular now. It's like a fashion, I forget what it is, but I saw like something on women's fashion trends, and one of them is like, there's a couple different ones. It's like this mushroom chic or whatever they call it, where the girls are mushroom aesthetic. That sounds weird, right? But it's a thing. And there's also like this like fairy aesthetic. There's like, you know, it's like these different little niche subcultures of the way that women dress, and it's all based on this fairy shit. And you can go look into that if you want. I don't think I have any. I don't know how to. I've seen it, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to include images of that in here. But it also fits into the psychedelics and taking drugs. But there is like a whole bunch of girls that are into that witchy stuff, and they're like, fairies are nice, and they want to collect them and have little statues. I remember that stuff becoming popular in the 1990s, seeing that stuff all over the place, like making like pewter things of wizards with crystals and dragons and all this fairy stuff. Because I had a girlfriend that was like, oh, I want this and I want that, and I'm buying like fairies and shit. And I made them out of clay. I remember I made, she's like, oh, look at this. And I made her a fairy. I didn't know any better. I made a fairy out of clay. And, you know, like, stuck all this shit on it, and she thought it was great. And yes, this is all dead things. They want us to worship dead things. Dead things, Mikey. Dead things. Drink the blood, Michael. Go ahead. So they want us to draw attention to them. And it's like a form of veneration and worship, and then, you know, they're gonna open, like, here we are, it's all true, do whatever we say, and guess what we want you to do? Whatever Agenda 21 says. So there you go. Fairies are aliens, and fairies and aliens are demons, and demons are things that God drowned during the flood. It's the reason of the flood. It's the reason for the flood. He wanted to drown all that shit. And then there's also fallen angels and watchers, which are also fallen angels and all that stuff. And those are principalities. And aliens, maybe illegal aliens will become your friends. They're just people from another place. They're us. But maybe they eat your pets. I don't know. But, you know, aliens from space, that's just demons. Pray to God. The wealthy elite, the globalists, the owners of the corporations, they work with demons. They don't want you to pray to God. So pray to God. It's Jesus.
I like shiny things, like rings and necklaces and jewelries.
A bad day's hunt, lads. Nothing for the pot tonight.
And what about young O'Sheen's birthday feast tomorrow?
They never should have taken the boy along. He's not been still for 5 minutes all day.
No, he's not ready to ride on a hunt with men yet.
Well, it's late. Better head back, even empty-handed. Fairies have been known to enchant humans passing through these woods at twilight.
Fairies? Oh!
O'Sheen!
O'Sheen!
O'Sheen, come back here! Where are you going?
Come back!
Come, mortal. Arise, fairies, and dance.
Who are you?
I am Niam, princess of the fairy realm, O'Sheen. You must follow us.
Fairy realm? Follow you? But
You are the only one who can save us now from the evil creatures. The goblins, bogies, and hags. They are threatening us. Come, enter the world of fairy. Fairies turned with a hero, O'Sheen, a fearless warrior.
hero? Warrior? But I'm not
Hero indeed. Instead of a warrior, you've landed a minnow.
Pa,
A worm. A little chick.
we're losing time. Come, O'Sheen. My father, the fairy king, is waiting.
A kitten. A gosling. A little puppy.
Father, we've brought you a mortal, a brave hunter, O'Sheen.
Sir, please, I have to get home before...
Mortal. Oh, yes, we need a mortal. The enchanted shadow, you know. It's a long story.
There was a time, not so long ago, oh, you would have loved it here then, when fairyland was bright and beautiful. Eternal spring, flowers abounded, elfin music was everywhere. Fays sunned themselves on mushrooms. Pixies dreamed of dew and nectar. Our days were long and filled with magic.
Magic. Oh, yes, my magic was strong then. I even conjured life into my own shadow. A feat no sorcerer had ever before accomplished. I had found a new friend, a companion. But sadly, I miscalculated. The shadow's power continued to grow, and mine to fade. The shadow became evil, malevolent, with a will of its own. Finally, it escaped, and I was powerless to prevent it. Oh, I tried everything, chanted runes, performed strange rites with acorns and moonlight, made a compound, bat's wings, cobwebs, and dragon's breath, all useless.
Now, O'Sheen, the days grow short, nighttime grows longer. Soon the sun's light will not be seen in our land.
But the shadow grows stronger, forms alliances with the evil creatures that thrive in the dark corners of Fairyland.
But what can I do about it?
Oh, you can see how the darkness weakens us fairy folk, saps our strength. But you're young.
A piglet.
Strong.
A cat.
Immortal.
A mouse.
You must go out now. Find the shadow. Bring him back. He will never rest until he controls everything that we have had that's good. And the magic, the realm, and especially my beautiful daughter.
Oh, no.
Yes, I fear Niam will be his next victim. Please, will you accept this challenge and undertake this quest?
But... Oh, all right. I accept the challenge, provided you return me to my home soon after.
Splendid. Splendid. You've chosen well, Niam.
Thank you, Father.
An egg. A lamb.
Puck will go with you.
A little... What?
He knows the woods, and his ability to change shape may prove useful.
But...
The shadow strikes tomorrow. There is not a moment to lose. Please go now. Now let all my people come inside the fairy hill. Close all entrances and exits. Let no one remain outside tonight, saving only Oisin and Puck. Tomorrow we'll see the end of the shadow. Or of us.
Those trees almost look like they're alive.
Afraid of trees. Send a boy on a man's errand.
Except the crows, where are they? Out catching dinner. They're hunting for a kobold. You mean them little miners? Yeah.
They ain't so bad if you coax them long enough.
Well, I guess we can start then. I calls for a toast to the shadows alive, to the goblins, their villainous mouth of lies. May the night hide their deeds. May the sun never rise. To the faggot, with one each, arm, head, leg, and knee. Got more evil in him than folks has three. We drink to the shadow, to his cruel hand, and to Squalor Web Castle, where he makes his stand. To the morrow, when he'll sally forth with his band to lay waste and wreak havoc and rule Fairyland. To the
Now what? Must be those troughs. Don't let them see me.
Rips your pride, but a bit too short to barbecue.
How about a cobalt stew?
Carrot sponge and a batch of peas.
A cup of wine to kill the fleas. Smash mine up if you don't mind, please. My teeth are loose.
Hey, that must be a kobold they've got.
How about a cobalt moose?
Yummy.
Now, first, we slice him up.
Slice him up?
Yeah.
What's the matter with you? Ain't you ever made cobalt ragu before?
Lots of
You
times.
parboils him in beef stock, and then you marinate olive oil for 24 hours.
I can't wait that long.
Oh.
I says we sautés him in butter.
I'll saute you in butter, you great twit.
Hey, my Aunt Agnes used to say, just a hint of saffron.
Your Aunt Agnes, your Aunt Agnes. Who's
Don't
making
talk
this
about
dinner
my
anyway?
Aunt Agnes, and don't you shout at me, Clyde. I was cooking cobalt before you was hatched.
I'm trying to decide whether to add shallots or garlic.
Who asked you? You keep out of
Garlic.
this. Don't mention that name.
What is garlic?
You know it gives me nightmares.
Help! Help! I'm going to help him.
A thousand gratitudes. What possible compensation can I provide? Fortuitous presents.
What did he say? You don't need to repay us, but please, could you show us the way to Squalorweb Castle?
There it is, across the lake.
But how can we get to it? Say, Puck, you can change shapes. A great eagle could fly us across. Well, I'll try.
Not even a sparrow. It must be the shadow. His power is growing, stealing my shape-shifting abilities from me. The Trolls brought me in a boat. We can appropriate that for our necessities. What did he say? The Lake of the Fairy Isles.
It's beautiful.
Well, there are some things here that are not so beautiful, like the Marrows.
What are they?
Great scaly Well, that's one I owe you.
What on earth?
It's the Unseelie Court. They're on patrol for the evil shadow. Run for the trees! That bunch loves human flesh!
It's me they're after.
Aye, that they are, lad. And they'll come inside where it's safe.
Who are you?
Who are you, is it? And isn't it myself should be asking the questions with a lot of you hiding out on me front porch? But... Now just be stepping over here into me parlor and we'll have a bit of sit down and a chit-chat. In you come, then, in you come. Well, now, I'll tell you who I am, me fine young mortal. They calls me the Fair Daring, and it's pleased I am to meet your acquaintance. This here is me house, so make yourselves at home. Now then, maybe you'll be telling me what you're doing wandering about these woods on a night like this instead of staying home in your warm beds at all.
Well...
But first, a glass of elderberry wine to take the night's chill out of your bones. And you must try a bite of me homemade primrose pie. I'll just pop into the kitchen while you makes yourself comfortable by the fire. As for myself, I do like a slice of hazelnut bread spread with rowanberry jelly. Get back up there, you greedy overgrown shillelagh. You'll have to excuse me, three lads. It ain't used to company. What did you say you was doing out there? We're going to Squalorweb Castle to get the Are you indeed, then? Why, you've only to wait till tomorrow, me buckos, and he'll be after coming out by himself, that he will. Here, have a spot of foxglove pudding. I just made it this morning. Now, why don't you just spend the night here by the fire and forget this foolishness? Well, you might have something there. Maybe just a few hours of sleep.
No, Puck, don't fall asleep. We've got to find the shadow before he comes out.
Why, you'll never scramble the Blackbelly Mountain in the dark. And how are you going to get past the red caps? Old Shadow uses them for guards. They keeps their caps nice and red, don't you know, by dipping them in blood.
Where do these stairs go?
Why, bless you, my boy, they just goes down to an old abandoned gold mine I use for a root cellar. There's old mine shafts all over these parts. That's right. They even say there's one that leads into Squalor Web Castle.
Hey, maybe this is it. Let's find out.
You two go ahead. I just remembered some important business that I have to attend to.
Oh, no. The only important business you have is to guide us through this mine. We need you.
Now, are you sure you wouldn't like to stay for a nice cup of wild thyme tea? If this leads to the castle, I'll be at cross-eyed Spriggan. We've been wandering around this mine for hours. We should be under Black Valley Mountain by this time.
Shh! It's just rats. They're more afraid of you than you are of them.
I doubt it. They have beady eyes and sharp teeth.
Look! What's that?
An old mine cage.
Let's try it.
It looks pretty rickety to me.
Well, there seems to be no other choice. Let's go.
Squalor Web Castle.
Hide.
Red caps.
I hope it's safe now. Come on.
Listen, you two go ahead. I'll keep guard here.
Yeah,
me too.
Not you, Puck. I'll need your help. Everyone's depending on us.
What's that you say? You saw a mortal, and you let him get away? How dare you! I should smother you all for this. I want that mortal now. Bring him to me unless you want to be boiled in oil. Go!
That's where he is. Puck, come on.
I don't think I want to see what's on the other side of that door.
Don't be silly, Puck. It's only a shadow.
Who intrudes upon my perfect darkness? Well, what have we here? Why, it's you, wee Puck, and that brave mortal.
You're coming with us, back to the king where you belong.
Oh my, you are so fierce. More reason for me to pulverize you. First you two, and then all of Fairyland. Tomorrow, I will plunge all Fairyland into my awesome darkness. No more of your sweet pixies, charming fays, or despicable little chameleons like you, Puck. However, Niam, that vision of beauty, will survive, and she will be mine. That light! Put it out!
Look, their shadow is as big as he is.
Now, Shadow, this is more like an even fight.
God! God! Seize him! That candle goes out, you're through, O'Sheen. But I was a shadow before, and I'll be a shadow still. Hurry, fools!
They'll never get through that door in time to save you.
The mortal is winning!
Gone.
He's disappeared. Did he escape?
No, he's done for. Look, it's the sun. The night is over. The shadow's power is finished.
I can feel my powers returning. Let's get out of here. This is my chance to save your life.
Well done, brave O'Sheen. And you too, Puck and Kobold. Welcome back all. As you can see, the rebel has returned, and all my old powers are back. I proclaim a celebration. Let there be food, music, and dancing. Let everybody give thanks to young O'Sheen and his friends for this great task they have accomplished.
I wish I could remain in Fairyland and live amidst the happiness that you share. But I must return to my own world.
So let it be. We will miss you.
And I'll miss you. Puck,
Stay away from twisted trees. Yes, and always keep an extra supply of candles.
O'Sheen! O'Sheen, come back here! O'Sheen, why didn't you come when we called for you?
It's bad enough that we didn't have anything for your so-called manhood feast. After all, good heavens!
Look at that game!
What a feast we'll have tomorrow!
How could you possibly have caught all that? You've only been out of our sight for a few minutes.
well, you see, that is, well, it all started when this
Never
deer...
mind, lad. You've made the day. What a hunter you've turned out to be. Come on, let's be getting back.
The Merry Mirth Worm Christmas. Christmas in Wormingham may be less than merry this year. Preparations for the annual Christmas party are underway, and newcomer Bert Worm is trying his darndest to be of help. But his clumsiness has got the chairworm glowing mad.
You have just worn out your welcome.
You want me to leave?
If you value your position in this community.
So poor Bert decides he'd best move on and try to make new friends somewhere else. When the Christmas celebration is underway, Crystal confronts the townspeople on their cruelty to Bert.
I was always told that Christmas was for sharing and kindness and giving.
How could we let this happen at Christmas time?
Bert deserves a second chance.
But the town's goodwill towards worms may have come too late. We all learn a lesson about the meaning of holiday spirit from the Merry Mirthworm Christmas. Available at stores everywhere.
Ever since Christmas began, everyone has looked forward with wide-eyed wonder to its annual arrival. And everyone, everywhere, celebrates the Yuletide season as a time of renewed hope, goodwill, and peace. Everyone, that is, except bears. Why? Well, because bears sleep through Christmas. In fact, from about the beginning of winter until about the beginning of spring, bears do nothing but. Did I say all bears? Well, that's not quite right, because there was a bear a Christmas or so ago whose curiosity was stronger than his instinct.
Ted, you don't even know if there is such a thing as Christmas.
Yeah, oh, yeah? Well, what about those stories about the lights and the music and a fat human in a red suit that comes down your chimney, huh?
Okay, even if there is such a thing, everybody's asleep. All bears sleep through the winter.
Just because other bears always sleep through Christmas, that doesn't mean I have to.
And so it was that a very tired Ted Edward Bear set off one winter's day to find out for himself what Christmas was all about.
I thought that was a bit gay, for starters. Well, hey, who am I to judge? I'm gonna come clean with everybody. I'm gay.
Bro, what are you even talking about?